Boo to those who clicked this video or otherwise had this pop up in your YouTube algorithms. You like spooky stories and urban legends? Yeah, me too. I've needed to post some more art-related stuff on here since forever, and a viewer requested some urban legend topics in my server's personal request section. Perfect excuse. I bring you stuff you hear on the street, because that's usually where most urban legends originate. Often there's some truth to the legends being shared. Whether you heard them growing up or in a video like this one, urban legends have captured the minds of every generation. They all start somewhere, often about someone. Someone you have to see with your own eyes to believe. Special thanks and shout out to Undead for requesting the topics of this video. Without any further ado, here you go. Born Raymond Theodore Robinson on October 29, 1910, to Robert and Lula Robinson, Raymond, who went by Ray, was a guy who lived in Coppell, Pennsylvania with his family. Those who knew him well during his life have fond memories of the man. His harrowing tale begins when he was just 8 years old. On June 18, 1919, while reaching for a bird's nest on the Morado Bridge outside of Beaver Falls while out swimming with his friends, he was permanently disfigured by an electrical line. Back in those days, the Morado Bridge carried trolleys and had electrical lines of both 1,200 and 22,000 volts. According to Wikipedia and other sources, these same electrical lines were responsible for the tragic demise of another child, Robert Little, less than a year prior to Raymond's accident on the bridge. These trolley lines would cease operations sometime in the 1930s. Black and white television didn't exist until 1928, and the child safety PSAs we're all familiar with these days hardly existed back then. Letting your 8-year-old play outside on a bridge seems unheard of these days, but back then, public opinion was much different from what it is today. Ray escaped the accident with his life against all odds, but suffered the unfortunate loss of his eyes, nose, and right arm. He stopped attending public school after first grade and hardly left the house during the day. Ray would pass the time listening to the radio, doing puzzles, helping with daily chores, and leatherworking, handcrafting things like belts and wallets to generate some income. Despite this horrendous experience in his childhood and the setbacks resulting, this didn't quell his love for the great outdoors, as he also enjoyed hiking out in the woods behind his home. Eventually, long nightly walks on a quiet stretch of Route 351 became one of his favorite hobbies. He would leave the house around 10 o'clock at night and just casually stroll and feel his way around with his walking stick while enjoying the nighttime ambience, free of the gawking general public. It would be these late-night excursions that immortalized Ray as a figure of Pennsylvania urban legend forever. Skipping ahead a couple of decades, Ray started going out for his nighttime walks sometime in the 1940s or 50s. According to an article by The Times, hosted on the Wayback Machine from 2007, one of his nephews went on record to state that a coal company stripped the property behind his house and wrecked the trail that Ray originally liked to hike in. So as a result, he wound up altering his routine and going down Route 351 instead. Taking his usual route between Coppell and New Galilee just to get out of the house for a while, Ray was spotted on the dark highways by passing motorists, often unintentionally spooking them with his appearance. These freaked out motorists would go on to tell their friends what they saw going down Route 351, and then those friends would tell other friends what that guy saw. This is how the legend of the Green Man or Charlie No-Face spread like wildfire throughout Pennsylvania into neighboring states. Asking around about the legend of Charlie No-Face would seemingly net a different telling of the origin story each time. Some said he was the faceless ghost of a laborer on the railroad who fell victim to an electrical accident. Some accounts mentioned a type of boogeyman with glowing green skin who was struck by lightning, and that he haunts country roads and railroad tunnels. Others said he was an unlucky factory worker that fell face first into a vat of acid on the job. Other retellings of the story had Charlie No-Face working for a power company, and that's how his accident happened. Some retellings correctly told that it was a childhood injury, but often one or more of the details were changed. Some retellings even included a ritual aspect. To talk to the Green Man face-to-face, you had to find him on the highway and offer him beer or smokes. Sometimes you had to honk your horn 3 times or call out to him by the Green Man Tunnel in South Park near Pittsburgh to get him to appear from the shadows. It essentially became one giant game of telephone that got entirely too out of hand. Before the internet, the only way to really fact-check things that happened decades ago was to look for newspaper articles or search public records. By hand. So to save time and a trip to the library or relevant government building, people just made up or exaggerated details in telling the story to their friends. The urban legend was often told as a cautionary tale to kids by teenage older siblings trying to scare them, or by parents who didn't want their unattended kids venturing outdoors at night, or sometimes as a rite of passage type street ritual depending on which version you were told. It wasn't long before more and more local people started going down Route 351 during the night to see the fabled Green Man for themselves. Despite all the people coming to gawk at Ray during his nightly walks, this didn't deter him from going. His family's constant worrying about his safety and their disdain for the unsolicited attention of strangers wasn't even enough to stop the guy from doing what made him happy. According to his nieces and nephews, he and those close to him just didn't talk much about his appearance, if at all. They simply got to know him, accepted him as he was, and that was the deal. His appearance was a reality that didn't change how they felt about him, and they were just happy he made it during a time when medical science wasn't what it is now, or even what it was decades after what happened to him. Sadly, not everyone was as willing to socialize politely, as some of the gawkers would call him names, honk their horns outside his home at night, demanding to see him, throw things at him going down the road, or offer him rides home, and then drop him off somewhere else as a prank, just to name a few. He was usually home well past midnight, but on some nights he was gone all night and wasn't seen again until he got home the next day, which also understandably worried his family. Despite the curious crowds and occasional ill treatment by idiots, Ray did his best to stay out of trouble and was just an all-around friendly guy remembered fondly by those who took the time to actually get to know him. A close friend who was interviewed for the aforementioned article on the Wayback Machine recalled befriending Ray while he was a high schooler in the 1960s. He and his friends would visit Ray on his walks and chat with him when they had nothing better to do. The visits to Route 351 by him and his buddies started out as a curiosity thing because of the urban legend. However, it turned into an actual friendship over time once they came to the realization that Ray was just an ordinary dude. Eventually, because of his legendary status, meeting Charlie No-Face became almost a rite of passage for Pennsylvania high schoolers in the know during this time, as they made up a good portion of the gawkers and thrill-seekers coming to look for Ray. According to another friend, Ray would often hide in the shadows if he heard a car coming, but would come out to chat with people he recognized and considered friends. He would also allow people to take pictures, which also helped the legend spread globally. Many of these photographs, especially the ones used in my video, can be found online, and their source articles will be linked below for those of you who want to read them. Ray passed away on June 11, 1985 at the age of 74 of natural causes at the Beaver County Geriatric Center, now Friendship Ridge in Brighton Township. His legendary walks came to an end several years before he moved into the nursing home as his age was catching up with him. Ray was interred into the Grandview Cemetery, which overlooks the site of the old trolley bridge that started it all. It's important to note here that Ray's surviving family doesn't want him to be remembered as some kind of monster or phantom, but rather as he really was. A kind man who cared about everyone he met and lived a fulfilling life despite the hand he was dealt. A cool guy who was a friend to many and really loved him some fresh air. I also want Ray to be remembered as he really was, especially since his story and the urban legends that came forth from it are famous to this very day, and have appeared in many YouTube videos regarding urban legends, including this one. Rest in peace, legend. Moving on to Switzerland for this next tale, mysterious people wandering in the woods is still a prominent theme here. The story of Le Loyon started in the late 1990s and early 2000s, with sightings of a mysterious figure out in the woods near a small village in Mall. The name Le Loyon is most likely Swiss French for the lion, and it is probably because of what this figure was often spotted wearing by all witness accounts. This individual was often seen donning an old military-style gas mask, one resembling a GP5 model dating back to 1962, and a military-style boiler suit along with a cloak with the hood over top. They were often seen picking flowers on the forest trail or just out there wandering. Despite not approaching or attacking anyone, people felt a sense of dread when encountering Le Loyon in the wild, and as such the police were searching for them, but never made an arrest. Despite this, the figure walked the same path in the woods whether they were spotted by locals or not. As to why this person was dressed this way and chilling out there in the woods is anyone's guess. All anyone can agree on is that this person wished to remain anonymous and didn't want to talk to anyone. Most people thought this was just locals making up stories about a masked weirdo out in the forest to mess with younger relatives, until some news articles regarding the sightings came out and the internet got involved. Sightings of Le Loyon carried on into the 2010s. Anyone who's been on the internet since at least the mid to late 2000s knows what a creepypasta is. A horror story shared online, often written by the person that posted it, often poorly. But is it still a creepypasta if there's actual photos of the figure in the wild? Probably. What can be confirmed is that a grainy photograph allegedly of the mysterious Le Loyon surfaced online in 2013 by an unnamed amateur photographer. A local news website, Le Matin, published the photo with accounts from people who have also seen Le Loyon in the woods. In the photo, you can see the back of the gas mask that covers the person's entire head, as well as the camouflage cloak they're wearing. The figure is also walking away, and that's because the photographer told Le Matin. I approached about 10 meters away. He had a military outfit with boots and an army gas mask, an old model, I believe. It measured more than 1.90 meters. He fixed his sight on me, then turned his back and went away quietly. He or she, by the way, was not aggressive. But if I had been alone, I would have approached him to tell him that it scares children. Except that I was with mine, who were scared and in need of reassurance. So I stayed cautious and just took a picture with my phone before he left. You never know, maybe he's crazy. And with that, the story of Le Loyon became a worldwide urban legend. Not long after the 2013 photograph went viral in Switzerland, more and more people went hiking in those woods hoping to find Le Loyon. Despite being rumored to hike there daily, sightings were scarce. More photos or even video footage of the figure were even scarcer, as the one that went viral in 2013 was the only ever photo associated with the legend. In November of that year, a woman described seeing Le Loyon, marking the last alleged sighting of the mysterious figure. It was a rainy Sunday. He had on a cap, a dark cloak, and a gas mask. What could possibly be going through his head? I don't know, but it was unforgettable and unpleasant. I hope I don't run into him ever again. Le Matin would go on to post another article about Le Loyon, but this time it was about something else spotted in the forest. His mask, cloak, boiler suit, and a letter planted near a tree. It was written in Swiss French. Sometime soon after this, the letter was published in the Communal Bulletin of Salle. It was seemingly written by Le Loyon himself, and the implications are concerning. Here's the transcripts of the letter's contents translated to English courtesy of the Cryptid Wiki. The risk of a hunt for the beast has become too great. Death certificate and testament of the Phantom of Mall. Dear nickname Patrick Dumatin, not only are you a moron, but you are above all an assassin. You murdered a very harmless being who found in his walks a real therapy of happiness, a cerebral resourcing allowing him to face the responsibilities and the vicissitudes of his normal life, and he had some. The ghosts cannot explain this happiness, but you do not seem to know Sacher Masoch. You will discover that it takes everything to make a world. Then you are an assassin of freedoms. To hear you, we find ourselves in the Middle Ages, at the time of witches. Why don't you rise up against the little toads, helmets, and hoods dressed in leather who backfire on their motorcycles in these same forests? Them in violation. Do they take the time to meditate in front of the little oratory to ask for a better world? I terrorize children, make me laugh. Why are they not terrified by the horrors and the crimes, very real these, that they see on television, in the media? Who is in charge of setting the tolerance and freedom button in this company? These beautiful notions benefit more dealers, pimps, burglars, rapists, and hooligans. Switzerland is small. Anything that is not in accordance with the Garden Gnome must be eradicated. I thought during these years, while I was always left alone until you, that these feelings were evolving. You give me the opposite proof, unfortunately. The phantom disappears. The risk of a beast hunt is too great. It will come back to haunt the narrow minds of your kind, for ultimately a ghost never dies. To the amiable walker or mushroomer who will discover my tinsel, deliver this letter to Mr. Syndic or Vice Syndic, or even to a journalist capable, however, of discussing freedom and tolerance. The ghost of Mall was dead, possibly in the figurative sense. However, there's a small chance it's possibly in the literal. Whatever the case, there has not been any sightings of Le Loyon since his famous outfit was discovered in the forest of this letter. This is the part where I reveal how the mystery was solved, complete with guy's identity, shoe size, and sandwich preferences, right? Yeah, no, there's only speculation. On to the theories. Even after all this time, no one knows who Le Loyon is, or possibly was, or if he was even real to begin with. All that's known for sure is that someone was seen in a place, the sightings continued to spread and went mainstream, a photo surfaced that hasn't been debunked or confirmed real as of this upload, and the mysterious figure seems to have retired his hobby, or at least this outfit, and somehow hasn't been noticed since. Speculation on his origins runs rampant to this day and can net you a number of explanations. Some say he was a mentally ill or depressed man in this costume just doing his thing away from the rest of the world. Some speculate whether or not this guy was even human to begin with, which is probably a side effect of the story gaining attention at the same time creepypasta was trending. Safe to say, that one's dumb. Some think he could have actually been a woman with a tragic backstory, but I don't buy that one personally. I do think it was a guy, and LeLoyan is a real person. Kind of. And the reason I think this? 4chan. No, seriously, take a look at this post from R9K, place for original stories on the site.
I used to dress up in a gas mask and an army cloak and wander my local town, lol. People started calling the cops and shit, so I stopped. Society will find a way to get back at you.
Wait, you're LeLoyan? What the fuck?
LeMayo, that shit is so funny. Yeah, I guess so. I didn't come up with the cringe name and story, everyone else did that.
How did people not link this to R9K instantly?
While I wrote that gay letter I forgot, was kind of venting in it.
You are an absolute Chad for creating your own urban legend.
Assuming OP is legit, reading this 4chan thread puts everything into perspective for me. Remember that mask I mentioned at the start of the story, the one from 1962? Turns out it's a model that was distributed to the masses in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Whoever did this probably just bought the components of the outfit from a flea market or something, or had access to vintage military garb from an older or deceased relative, and decided to screw with people for funsies and had to stop because the cops got called. It perfectly explains why LeLoyan didn't approach or attack anybody. He let people see and encounter him. It also explains the tone of the letter, as more people getting involved would have led to him being caught and he couldn't have his fun anymore. A lot of famous creepypastas also originated from 4chan, such as the Backrooms, the Rake, and the SCP Foundation. LeLoyan as a concept could easily appear in any of those stories. The themes match up. The timelines of both the LeLoyan sightings and 4chan match up. My working theory as of this video's upload is simply this. Probably a bored funster in a small town who unintentionally created an urban legend and confessed to the tomfoolery with the nons on 4chan. Could anyone have just taken the photo off the web and uploaded it to 4chan to say that they were the guy? Absolutely. But if further proof debunking this crackpot theory of mine comes out, you guys will be the first to know. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. Feel free to leave your comments down below on what topic of spooky origin you want featured next. Similar stories will often wind up together in the same episode. You can also go to my Discord server and make requests there. As always, stay safe and take care.